Hey, what's up guys? My name is Destery and welcome back to What the Fuck 5. There's something so scary about a mystery. That weird feeling you get in your chest when you know that something just isn't quite right. Whether it's a stranger staring at you from across a dark alleyway, to simply losing your keys, which, if you're anything like me, happens every fucking day. Literally every fucking day. So from someone having premonitions of a crash moments before a crash happened, to an entire family disappearing overnight, for today's What the Fuck 5, we count down the 5 scariest mysterious deaths. I don't know why I said it like that.
The 5 most scary, mysterious deaths.
Probably to make it more scary. Anyways, let's get into it. Number 1, the Silent Twins. Still considered to this day to be one of the weirdest unsolved mysteries, the Silent Twins refer to June and Jennifer Gibbons, two twins who refuse to speak to anyone but themselves. And even though that doesn't sound that scary, it just sounds like they have a really bad case of social anxiety. Me though. It's the details of one of the twins' deaths that really creeped people out. So throughout the twins' lives, if they were ever separated, they would go completely catatonic. They would hardly move, blink, or even breathe unless they were close to the other twin. Apparently they also devised their own language so they could speak to each other without anyone knowing what they said. It wasn't until the two got into their late teens that they were hospitalized where things only got more mysterious. As during their stay at the Broadmoor Mental Hospital, one of the twins died from a mysterious heart failure. There's no apparent use of drugs of any kind that would have caused this, so the death itself is still a mystery. But even stranger, a few hours after Jennifer's death, June began speaking to people, repeating over and over, "I'm free at last, liberated, and at last Jennifer has given up her life for me." Okay, what the fuck? Tell me that's not the weirdest shit you've ever heard. So a few years after the incident, June finally opened up about what happened between her and her sister to a therapist, and the details are fucking weird. So during their youth, the twins quickly realized they couldn't live whether they were separated or apart from each other. And it was a long-standing agreement that if one of them died, the other would finally be able to speak and have a normal life. And during their stay at the hospital, they decided that one of them had to die, and Jennifer chose to sacrifice herself for her sister. So since that incident, a ton of books and movies have come out, talking about the Silent Twins and stuff. So if you're intrigued or interested at all by this topic, I definitely recommend you check it out. Because again, there's barely any of the details about the Silent Twins, and the whole story is just weird as fuck. Number 2, Flight 191. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen the movie Final Destination or the 20 fucking sequels that are made after it, but the first Final Destination movie was actually based off of a real event. As during a rainy Chicago afternoon in 1979, Flight 191 took off from the ground only to suffer from engine failure and crash back down, instantly killing 272 people. And while plane crashes themselves are about as common as getting a flight without a crying baby directly in your ear, or without a man seemingly shitting his pants, the details of the crash of Flight 191 are what make it one of the weirdest mysteries of our time. As weeks before the incident of Flight 191, 23-year-old David Booth of Cincinnati began having nightmares of an American Airlines plane crashing. He had the dreams so often that eventually he called the airlines to warn them of danger, where they basically just said, "Sir, I can assure you our airplane's as safe as fuck. We the safest motherfuckers on this block." And with that, David hung up knowing that in his mind, the airplanes were not safe as fuck. Nor was he convinced that they were indeed the safest motherfuckers on that block. Even more strange though is that actress Lindsay Wagner was supposed to be aboard the flight, but something held her back, stating that a dark and unsettling feeling stopped her from even getting aboard. So soon after the events were televised, David felt his heart sink, feeling that he could have done something to stop it. And even though the crash was deemed an accident, FBI investigators still felt like David Booth was somehow involved, since the details of the crash were eerily similar to his visions. And even after that, many people believe that David Booth was a prophet, asking him questions like, "When am I gonna die? Is my husband cheating on me? Is it normal for my pee to look like this? Do you have your pee in a coffee mug?" But David claimed that he never again had another vision, and that he has no idea why he had them to begin with, some people hoping to unlock the key to reading the future. Like maybe he had a bran muffin that morning, or he snorted crystal meth. I mean, honestly, would you snort crystal meth if you could read the future? I guess you know my answer! Number 3, the Hinterkai family farm. The Hinterkai family farm is a very hard to pronounce farm in a very hard to pronounce town called Schrobenhausen, Germany. The farm was practically in the middle of nowhere with no other houses or buildings for miles. Yet on one cold winter night in 1922, 6 members of the Gruber family were mysteriously murdered murdered in their sleep. Days prior to the murder, the father and operator of the farm, Andreas Gruber, told his closest neighbors, which were probably like fucking 50 miles away, about discovering footsteps in the snow leading from the edge of the forest to their doorstep, as well as his house keys going missing. Even more frightening is that the farm had a bad habit with maids, the last one quitting just days before the murders, claiming that the farm was haunted and that she heard footsteps coming from the attic. And unfortunately, the day that the new maid got there was the same day that the murders took place. And you're probably sitting there like, oh, it was clearly the maid. But unfortunately, she also died alongside them in the same exact fashion. That night, the entire family had been lured one by one to the barn where they were strangled and bludgeoned by a pickaxe. And if this wasn't creepy enough, apparently the killer did not leave the farm immediately, as the animals were still being fed and smoke could still be seen from the chimney days after the reported time of their deaths. So police believe that robbery could have been a main motive, but that was quickly ruled out as the family's jewels and a large sum of money were still there at the farm in clear view. So whoever the culprit was just decided, oh hey, I have a free afternoon. Just ate some waffles, what should I go do? I guess I could go murder an entire family. Wow, yeah, let's go do that. Like what? So I mean, all of that is just terrifying. Like I can't even imagine how terrifying that would have been for police to show up to see all of those people dead in the middle of a barn, or the dad finding the fucking footsteps in the snow. So that is why Hinterkai will forever be one of the scariest mysteries of all time. Number 4, the death of Elisa Lam. So this one, in my opinion, is by far the scariest unsolved mystery ever. Because not only is it just terrifying, but there's also video of her moments before her death. The death of 21-year-old Canadian tourist Elisa Lam still remains one of the most bizarre and disturbing unsolved cases in history, with little to no evidence pointing to any suspect of how she ended up naked and drowned in the water tank of a hotel in downtown Los Angeles on February 19th, 2013. Oh my god, that's my birthday. To make this story even creepier, that's literally my birthday. I mean, not 2013, because I'd be like 3 years old. I'm aging really bad for a 3-year-old. But she was also born in the same year as me. Why? But the video recovered from the surveillance footage of the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles shows us Elisa's last minutes alive as she's seemingly stuck on an elevator. From the footage, you can clearly see that there's something wrong as she dips her head in and out of the elevator, at one point seeming to hide away from someone or something. Fuck, that's creepy. Well, the last thing we see is Elisa run off the elevator as it seemingly stops working, yet there's footage of the elevator later that day working perfectly. That's when it was said that Elisa somehow accessed the roof of the hotel, passed a locked and alarmed door, by the way, climbed up a water tank, and somehow got inside the opening of the tank, which is a little bit more than a foot wide. And the most disturbing detail? No one knew about her death until several days later when residents of the hotel began complaining that the water tasted funny and was slightly brown. So for several days, people were drinking the dead body of Elisa Lam while it soaked away in a hot water tank. And that is just so weird to me. Like, why would you drink water that was brown? Like, I get that California is having a water crisis or whatever, but if you wanted to get water from a faucet and it was brown, would you be like, damn, this looks good? They must have added chocolate to the water to make it taste better for the hotel residents. There's no way it's poop or a dead Asian girl. Anyways, many people believe that Elisa might have been in a drug-induced state of paranoia as she suffered from anxiety and took several different supplements to battle it. However, upon further toxicology reports, it was found that there was no drugs in her system. So that is why the story of Elisa Lam will forever be one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries. Anyways, guys, I know that there's supposed to be technically one more, but for the sake of this video not being 20 minutes long, I'm gonna cut it off at 4. But if you really need one more, then we could always talk about the mysterious disappearance of your sister's virginity. Spoiler alert, it was me. But that is it for this episode of What the Fuck 5. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to give it a like and also subscribe to the channel, as there will be more every single week. Also be sure to check out my channel at youtube.com/CaptainDestes, where I post a lot of weird vlogs. What the Fuck News is on that channel. I'm about to bring back my Q&As, which were really popular, so I hope you guys are excited for those. That being said, I have to go because I seem to have misplaced my keys again. Fuck my life, right? Like, where do they go? Do they fucking have legs? Anyways, guys, I will see you next week for another What the Fuck 5. Thanks for watching, and fair winds.